Hi everyone, this is Katie McCarville and this is the oral portion of our final exam for EPSY 7210, Multicultural Gifted and Talented Education. I am a 4th grade gifted teacher and I am about to start my 5th year teaching. And although I have taught for 4 years, this year will include a lot of firsts for me, as it will be my first time teaching math and science, and I'll be teaching at a new school in a new district. The first course goal that I feel I met throughout the duration of this class is evaluate personal beliefs and professional experience related to multicultural gifted education issues. This course has pushed me to deeply reflect on my perspective and innate biases in terms of multicultural education. From the Howard article, White Man Dancing, A Story of Personal Transformation, I was first exposed to the concept of white identity, and I reflected on my own identity as a white female. Rather than thinking in context of how my culture had discriminated against or put down minority groups, I was encouraged to learn more about my own background and to find personal meaning in the experiences of my ancestors. I was able to begin my own journey to uncovering my white identity by engaging in the My Peeps activity. Putting together my family tree allowed me to learn more about where my family came from, their professions and interests, and their beliefs. It was exciting to see how my ancestors' stories have influenced my story. When considering my professional experience with multicultural gifted education, I quickly realized that I haven't really had any. There has never been an emphasis on the importance of diversity in multicultural education within the gifted programming at my school. The only consideration is that during the identification process, the cutoff score on the IQ test that is used is lowered for students who are on free or reduced lunch or who are English language learners. I know I would have benefited greatly from engaging in professional development opportunities focused on multiculturalism, specifically trainings that focused on integrating multiculturalism into my curriculum. Another area where I feel I grew a lot this summer is to meet the course goal, recognize prejudice and oppressive institutional structures in education that marginalize gifted students from culturally diverse backgrounds, specifically race, class, gender, and language issues. In the past, we've learned about how minority groups are often underrepresented, but through this course, my understanding of how and why this happens became more refined. Reading about the differences between the perspectives of cultural deficits, cultural incongruence, and cultural differences opened my eyes to the different belief systems that people have and how these beliefs influence how educational programs are structured and how racially and culturally different students are perceived and treated. Furthermore, I feel my understanding of this objective has grown through the examination of gifted identification practices, particularly with assessment tools that are used to test students. In our readings, Donna Ford explored test bias through the lens of content validity, construct validity, and predictive validity. Learning more about how bias is embedded in commonly used assessment tools opened my eyes to how pervasive this problem is. It also inspired me to learn more about assessment options that minimize bias and can provide more equitable opportunities for minority students. It encouraged me to reflect on the assessment tools my school currently uses for gifted identification and to consider ways we can improve the process so that it is more inclusive and less biased. One area where I grew significantly is in identifying the personal work I am called to do within multicultural education. Through the readings and reflections in this course, I have been inspired to focus on gender equity. Reading about the challenges many gifted girls face reminded me so much of my personal experience as a gifted student. Throughout my educational career, I have felt confined by gender stereotypes. I was influenced by the idea of certain subject areas being more feminine and what areas of interest were considered appropriate for girls. I also struggled with taking risks for fear of failure. and consequently the judgment that I might receive from my peers, teachers, and friends. My hope is that I can encourage my gifted female students to take risks and pursue the things that they're interested in. Additionally, I have become more interested in the barriers that gifted males face in terms of gender roles and bias. This was an area of multicultural education that I hadn't considered. I was more aware of the challenges gifted girls face, but hadn't given much thought to what challenges gifted boys may come across. Being aware of the challenges for both boys and girls is essential to being able to support them in their educational journey and in helping them develop their social and emotional skills. My goal is to be more intentional with the opportunities that I provide for my students to ensure I provide an educational experience that is equitable for both genders. The area where I feel I grew the most this semester was learning about the detriment of staying silent and the importance of engaging in courageous conversations. I had always avoided speaking up when conversations around sensitive topics began because I was nervous about people judging my opinions or that I would unintentionally offend someone. What I've learned is that when we engage in courageous conversations, we have to expect to feel some discomfort. This discomfort is an indicator that perspectives are being challenged and reflection is taking place. And this is what courageous conversations are all about. Speaking up is worth the risk because it allows education and transformation to take place. My goal for the upcoming school year is to not shy away from these conversations, but rather to bravely engage in productive discourse that can help me continue to develop my understanding of multicultural education while also challenging others to do the same. The personal and professional objectives for future engagement and work with diversity and equity issues in gifted programs for myself are to first finish my educational specialist degree with the focus on gifted and creative education. I would like to more informally engage in courageous conversations with my coworkers and administration. I believe having these conversations when they come up naturally will provide authentic opportunities to learn from my peers and to also challenge my coworkers to look at things from different perspectives. I would like to more formally organize and maybe one day facilitate courageous conversations for the staff at my school. Providing a dedicated time and space to discuss issues that are sensitive will allow us to give these topics the consideration they deserve. My hope is that by organizing these discussion groups, other teachers will begin to speak up, and these conversations will lead to great growth. Finally, I plan to attend the Florida Gifted Association Conference in October. This conference offers many breakout sessions focusing on different aspects of gifted education. I hope to attend a few that focus on diversity and multicultural education. In order to promote awareness of and effectiveness in addressing multicultural issues, I plan to first learn more about my new district's gifted identification process and multicultural curriculum. Becoming informed will be a beginning step to incorporating multicultural education in my classroom. I also plan to communicate with other gifted teachers at my school and other schools. I plan to talk with my school's gifted coordinator and my district's gifted specialist. This will allow me to gain insight into how multicultural education is implemented in the district and to collaborate with others who are passionate about multicultural gifted education as well. When I attend the FLAG conference in October, I plan to connect with other gifted educators. This will be a great opportunity to expand my understanding of multicultural gifted education and to engage in more courageous conversations. I believe these individuals and organizations are important to collaborate with because they represent my local school community and the larger gifted community. Engaging in discussion and taking action to improve multicultural gifted education needs to happen at all levels, starting in our classrooms and reaching state and national organizations.